Hello. Hello, guys. I'm here. Today, I'm going to talk about how to practice speaking and listening every day by yourself. And I want to start by talking a little bit about myself, telling you guys a little bit of my story, how I came to Brazil, how I learned Portuguese, how I learned Spanish, and a little bit of how I did that by myself. And yes, I had help. Every day that you have a chance to talk to somebody, there's somebody, they help you in your process. But you are the number one person who gets to go through that process every day, and you got to be consistent. So anyway, I would like to tell you guys a little bit of my story, so let me start. I came to Brazil when I was 8 years old. So that was like a long time ago. My parents came here. I came here with my whole family. We're a big family, 8 people. So I have 5 brothers and 1 sister. And we all speak Portuguese now. We've lived in Brazil for a long time, so I'm not the only American in my family that speaks Portuguese. We're 8, and we've been here for a long time. I have hello. I also have a sister who lives in Mexico now. So she lives there with her husband. They have a child. So we're kind of spread all over the world right now. I have a brother who lived in Africa for a while. Now he's back in Brazil. So we've kind of just gone all over the place a little bit over the years. But we came here in 2003, and imagine, I have so many good memories as a family learning Portuguese together. And one of my favorite memories, a funny memory that we had as a child, we got to Brazil, and there's a few Americans that lived here, and they were kind of helping us get adjusted to life in Brazil and everything. And this guy told us, because we started saying abacaxi. We would be at the table talking, and we would say, passa o suco de abacaxi, passa o sal, passa não sei o quê. So this is how we as a family would learn Portuguese together. Because we got here, we didn't know anything. And so we would be like, passa o suco de abacaxi. And one time, this other American, he heard us say that, and he said, hey, it's not abacaxi, it's abacaxi. and we're like, okay, abacaxi. Thank you. And so we started calling it abacaxi. And then some Brazilians heard us. They're like, what? Why are you saying abacaxi? Who told you that? They're like, oh, so and so. Like, no, it's abacaxi. So we never trusted his Portuguese again. And so that's kind of just where we started. Tá travando aqui. Hey, can anybody tell me? Sorry, there's a motorcycle going by. Abacaxi in English is pineapple. Are you guys having connection problems? Let me see. I can switch mine to 4G if it's better. Okay. All right, that's good. Thank you. So, again, whole family coming to Brazil, learning Portuguese, and we had to give a huge effort as a family to just kind of help each other to learn, because there was nobody that spoke English. We knew 2 people that spoke English, and then one of them left. So we had to figure out a way to communicate with people, and it was pretty crazy. But it was a lot of fun, a lot of fun. And so, little by little, we started developing our Portuguese, started improving. We had to play with other kids, and that's kind of how we developed our Portuguese, just playing with other kids. So, just kind of just kind of being around other people, that's kind of how it started. Been here for 18 years now, so I consider myself very Brazilian. I've been here longer than in the US, but in our house we always spoke English. So we always spoke a lot of English in our house. I did homeschooling, so my studies were always in English. So Portuguese, we had to give that extra effort to learn, to perfect, and over the years, I've really given an effort to perfect my Portuguese. And then in 2013 is when I started to see, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Said I have no accent. In 2013 is when I started to learn Spanish. And so I went to Mexico for like 2 weeks, and that was kind of my attitude. I want to learn Spanish. I didn't speak anything, and I got to Mexico, and in 1 week, I was like really trying to learn and develop and try to communicate in Spanish as much as I could. I didn't want to do portuñol, but at the beginning, it's kind of necessary. But started to really, really observe and study just kind of with the people. That's awesome. So in 1 week, I was put in a situation where we were going to have a camp with young boys and girls, teenagers, and I was supposed to help organize the camp a little bit. And I had to speak Spanish because, I was going to be responsible for some of the kids. And, I either had to speak Spanish or not. So really, really was put in that situation where it's go time. This was 1 week of having access to Spanish. Gosh, that's so crazy. So I look back and I know they were so patient with me. I know they had to interpret everything that I said, I'm sure. But I was able to communicate with them without any problems. So I look back, that is my beginning with Spanish. Obviously, when I went back to Mexico 1 year later, I was thinking, now I speak Spanish, I have great Spanish, and, I was so confident in my abilities to communicate in Spanish. And I was talking to this guy who he spoke English. And he said to me, we were talking in Spanish, and he said to me, "Hey man, can you speak to me in English? I can understand you better." Oh, as we say in Portuguese, banho de água fria, cold shower, like just destroyed my self-esteem, destroyed my confidence to speak in Spanish. And so that really messed with me. Just the rest of my time there, I talked with people and everything, but I just lost a lot of confidence in that situation. And that's why I'm so, I'm so careful with people because I know what it's like to just like feel, oh, they can't understand me when I'm speaking their language. That hurts. But I didn't give up. It hurt, but it kind of motivated me. It kind of motivated me to keep pushing forward, to keep trying more. So about a year later, I went to Colombia for like 5 months, for about 5 months. And so in that situation, I was really able to go into Spanish a lot more. See, I'm telling my story, but I'm also, yeah, that's right. Very few English speakers learn Portuguese first. He said most English speakers get started speaking Spanish after Portuguese. Yeah, totally true. A lot of Americans learn Spanish first because it's closer. There's so many Spanish speakers in the U.S., and so it's a lot more common. But I came to Brazil, so Portuguese definitely helped me to learn Spanish. Definitely, no doubt. So if you want to learn Spanish, it's going to be a lot easier than learning English. But anyway, so I went to Colombia in 2015, and again, like, I didn't really study anything in between those times. So I'm going to tell you, don't do that. Okay, don't do like me. I was lazy. I was lazy in the situations that I wasn't with constant contact with the language. So don't do that. All right? If you don't have an opportunity to be in the US, practice your English today. Like, don't wait. Don't wait for it to be perfect. Practice today. But anyway, I went to Colombia, and that's where I was there for 5 months. That's where my Spanish really went to the next level. I had to be in a school where all of the classes were in Spanish. Everybody spoke Spanish. Nobody spoke English. And that was very exciting. It was like every day Spanish, 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 Spanish. And I had to read books, I had to write in Spanish. And so that was when I was forced to really take it to another level. So that's when I decided I want to speak just like everybody else. I want to be fluent. It's so hard. Having Spanish all the time, I was forced to decide to develop my Spanish. I was in group situations where I didn't understand what was happening in the conversation. I would get lost. Then people would give instructions like, hey, everybody do this, 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 this. And then I'd be like, what are we supposed to do? I didn't understand. So if you've ever been through that, like if you went to college in the US or whatever, you know what I'm talking about. There's all this information, you miss certain things, and you're just like embarrassed, you're kind of confused, and you're like, somebody help me. So that was hard. That was in the moment where I had to really deal with a lot of challenges with the language. Headaches, a lot of headaches. So then a year later, I moved to Bogota, lived there for a year. That's when my Spanish really it got perfected. Today, it makes me so happy when somebody says that they recognize my accent from Bogota. That makes me so happy because I realized that all of that effort was worth it. For what purpose? for personal satisfaction more than anything else. When somebody tells you that you speak perfect Portuguese or that you speak perfect Spanish, you feel satisfied. You feel happy. And that's what I want to tell you guys. A lot of times we have a motivation. I want to be fluent to get a job. I want to be fluent for this reason, for that reason, for this reason, for that reason. Always external reasons. And it's not enough. It has to be your number one reason. Just a second. Sorry guys, close my window. Too much noise outside. Your number one reason has to be internal motivation. Why? Because going from advanced English to fluency takes a lot of work. Takes a lot of work. Because advanced, you know a lot of the language, you know a lot of vocabulary, but if you don't really push, you get stuck. You get stuck in advanced level. You get stuck in intermediate level. So you can get a job, you can do a lot of things with your English. And what motivates you to improve? What motivates you to keep learning more? It's very hard to find that motivation. So, your motivation has to be yourself. I want to be fluent. I want to speak like the natives. I want to understand the natives every time. You know, it's just a personal motivation. That personal motivation will push you more than any external motivation. You just want to sound, you want to be more and more native. And I think that has always been my motivation when learning Spanish, when learning Portuguese. I just want to sound Brazilian. I want people to think I'm Brazilian. I love it when people get surprised that I'm actually an American. That, I was like, yes, okay, I have good Portuguese. Wow, I remember when I can't even understand native speaking, and now I'm watching a native and understanding almost everything. Woo! Good job. That is such an amazing feeling, right? Obviously, I'm speaking a little bit slow, but that's an amazing feeling. That is motivation, you know. So I love cultures. I love people. I love learning the different food, eating the food from different countries. When I go to a country, I don't want to go to a restaurant. I want to eat the food from the square, you know. I want to eat the cultures, the people's food, you know. So I love cultures. I love diversity. And that's why when I go to a country, I want to learn their language. I want to develop in that just for personal satisfaction. And I think that helps you to grow a lot as a person. So going back, if you want to reach fluency in English, you have to decide that that is your objective. You have to be disciplined. You have to be determined. And you have to be like, all right, I'm going to do this and nothing's going to stop me. When you have that attitude, you might not have anybody to practice with. You might not have access to a teacher. You might not have the money to pay, but you will learn. So that attitude is what will cause you to grow. Not money, not perfect opportunities, but discipline, you know. I want to learn, I want to grow. When you have that attitude, you find opportunities. So, how can you practice speaking by yourself? Here's a question. Why do I think this is important? Why is this extremely important for you? When you don't practice English by yourself, let's say you go to an English course once a week. You practice English once a week. When you have a conversation class once or twice a week, you practice English once or twice a week. And all the other days, you don't learn English. You don't practice English. So even if you are paying for a teacher, if you're not practicing by yourself, you are losing a lot of time. You're wasting a lot of time that you could be developing your language skills. People say, oh, I get so embarrassed to speak in English. I get so nervous. The words don't come out of my mouth. Why? The question is, why? Why are you getting nervous to speak? Because you never practice. You never speak. So when you have an opportunity to speak with somebody else, there's a lot of pressure. It's like, oh, I like to go. It's like it just doesn't happen. You get nervous, you get worried. And so when you don't practice every day, your only situations to speak are full of pressure. I just received a phone call. Can everybody still hear me? Sometimes it messes with the audio. Can you guys just put in the comments you can still hear me? Yes, no, yes, no. I'm hoping that there's no problems. All right, I'm gonna just keep talking. Okay, good. So when you have that situation, there's a lot of pressure, right? But why? Why are you putting yourself in that situation where you only speak when there's a lot of pressure? You got to speak every day. Practice your mouth every day. You're listening every day. When you're in those situations, it will be easy, right? So how can you do that? You got to find a way to do that effectively. Sometimes, what happens? I think most people who study English, they watch movies, they listen to music, and they follow teachers on Instagram. Sometimes they read a book, but a lot of times, especially on Instagram, right? On Instagram, man, I did it in my stories this morning. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I talked about having your mind turned on. A lot of times when we're on Instagram, our mind is on swipe mode, right? It's on swipe mode. And if it's on swipe mode, you're going to learn only a little bit. So everything starts when you do these activities. Put your mind on, turn it on. Don't go into sleep mode, relax mode, lazy mode. Sometimes, yes, sometimes it's okay. But you have to be intentional. Okay, I'm going to learn something here. I'm going to pay attention to what is happening. I want to ask a question to you guys. Do you guys follow native speakers, American, British, Australian, South African, whatever? Do you follow them? Not teachers, not English teachers, but just regular people, influencers, famous people, I don't know. Do you follow them on Instagram? Because that's a tip for you guys. Follow native speakers, not teachers, but just lots of people who speak English. That's a great way to hear, to listen to real English, because they're not speaking to a Portuguese audience. They don't speak slow like me. When I speak in English, I'm speaking slow so you can understand me. Other people, they speak normally. So I really want to recommend you guys do that. But anyway, so when you're following these people, when you get their content, first thing you have to do is your mindset has to be learn. I want to learn something. I want to learn how to communicate like him. So I'm going to observe what he says, maybe repeat, maybe look like an idiot. Gosh, when you're learning a language, you're going to look like an idiot. That's okay. That's how you learn a language. You look like an idiot. And that's how I learned. You don't develop unless you look like a fool sometimes. So what I started to do is like thinking in Spanish, thinking in Portuguese. When you start to think in Portuguese, when you start to think in your second language or in your third language, that's when you start to really develop. Not only when you speak in English, you think in English, but like just thinking in your day. So for example, today, before I came here, before I started my life, I was outside and I was just walking around, talking out loud, preparing for this live. So anybody who saw me or heard me might think I'm crazy, but I don't care because I want to do a good job. I want to do, I don't care what people think. The result is what matters. So when you want to achieve something, you can't care what other people think. Because when you worry about what other people are thinking about you, it limits you from reaching your goal. So just like take that idea, that mentality, that mindset of being worried about what people think, take that and throw it away. Just throw it away. Because it only keeps you from becoming a better English speaker. So if you're at home, you have your family, and you just like, all right, I'm just gonna speak in English in my house. I'm gonna start talking all the time. Oh, look at that! It's a ball. Oh, look, and you can have conversations in your mind. Here's something funny. Imagination, right? When we're kids, we have a huge imagination. And when you become an adult, when you become a teenager, you're pretty much, you believe that having an imagination is bad, right? It's bad to be, to imagine people, you have to be real. Everything has to be real. Well, I'm going to tell you today, that's silly. Imagination is what makes children develop the most. It's if they have imagination, a strong imagination, they're going to develop more. So you want to encourage that in children. And if that's good for children, it should be good for us too. And when you have a strong imagination, you can imagine other people, maybe you're imagining that you're teaching, or you're giving a presentation, a work, and you're imagining businessmen, whatever. You're giving a presentation. And you can do these things at any moment in English. One of the things that I would suggest, you're watching a movie, So you watch a movie, then the movie's over. Now you give a presentation of what the movie was about. You go to your room, you shut your door, and you just say, in this movie, da 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 da, and you just talk about the movie. Who's listening? Nobody. But you're practicing, right? So that's one idea. I wanna before giving all of these ideas, what you can do, I wanna ask you guys, write in the comments different activities that you can do at any moment. It doesn't require a large spending, just like watching a movie. Not talking about traveling to another country, but things that you can do in your daily life activities. Write in the comments different activities that you can do in English. And we're going to start commenting about that. So, one of the things is watching movies, right? Other thing, obvious, listening to music, right? We can listen to music. So, another thing is, obviously, reading books. Do we have any other activities that we can do on a daily basis that involve speaking English? Pretty much anything, right? Anything can be done in English, really. So you take those ideas, watching a movie, listening to music, reading a book, and you have to start thinking like a teacher. What would a teacher tell me to do? Right? I'm memorizing one verse from the Bible per week. When I brush my teeth, that's a great idea. Pretend that you have to buy something. Wow. Yeah, why do you have to go to a store? Just pretend you're buying something. Man, imagination gives you every scenario that you need. I record an audio telling a story to myself. That's awesome. You record the audio, so you're telling the story, and then you listen to it, and then you say, oh, and then you do it again because you make the changes. Yeah, listening to yourself is a really good idea. It's a really good idea. Because when you listen to yourself, you're like, that doesn't sound like a native. But it's good, but okay, I need to try this again. And that's hard. People don't want to do that. They don't want to listen to themselves. So that's a great idea. If you have friends that are also speaking English, are also learning English. I mean, look at all the people here. We know so many people that speak English. Yes, recording audio is a great exercise, but I feel mad at my accent. Yeah, I feel you. It's tough. It's tough. Memorizing small conversations, then I record with my cell phone. Nice. So we have opportunities to practice every day with ourselves. When you record an audio, you practice speaking and listening, right? Because you speak and then you have to listen to it, and then you have to work and develop the mistakes. You make corrections. So every day you're self-teaching. Does this mean you don't need a teacher? No. You do need a teacher. Teachers are great, fantastic. They're really important for you because you can't always teach yourselves the corrections. But if you wait to have a teacher correcting everything, then you never practice. It's like, oh, I'm only going to speak when somebody can correct me. What? No. Speak every day, and when you have a chance to be, when there's a teacher present, they can help you to make corrections. But every day you're speaking. Every day you're using the language. That's what happened. That's why people get stuck. because they don't use the language. And if you don't use the language, you just, boom, you go like this. You're growing, then you get to intermediate, you get to intermediate and you go, you stop growing. And then you get frustrated and you say, I'll never learn English. I'll never be fluent. But it's your own decision to not practice. So, every day is an opportunity to practice English. I think about some sentences that I use with my daughter in Portuguese, and I try to talk with her in English. Awesome. That's perfect. You take that same vocabulary that you used, and you say the same thing in English. And in a real situation, you remember it, You don't forget it. Nice. So, guys, every day is an opportunity to practice. That's pretty clear. But the question is how to practice effectively, right? How do I actually develop? How do I actually grow and improve in this situation? That's where you have to be strategic. You have to really think about strategies. So we're going to talk about a few strategies that you can do. But I want to ask a question. Right here in the comments, when you're watching a movie, what are some strategies to make that moment effective? Right? How can you learn with the movie? How can you make watching a movie a learning moment? Because if you just watch a movie, you'll learn a little bit. How can you make that moment strategic? How can you be strategic with that? Right here in the comments, different ways that you can use movies to learn English. I want to talk about, as you guys start writing in the comments, I want to also encourage TED Talks are fantastic. Watch TED Talks in English as well. So you can be movies or TED Talks, whatever. Both of those are really good because they're just regular people speaking. Pretend that I'm a foreign in the street and try to find people that speak English. Interesting. The other day I spoke to a kid in English and he was so confused. It was so funny. Sometimes I do that. Put the subtitles on in English. Yeah. Put the subtitles in English. Definitely you want to put the subtitles in English, right? Pause the movie and write down the sentence or repeat. Very good. I've been listening to Welcome to the Night Valley podcast and TED Talks daily. Excellent. When you listen to the TED Talks, when you listen to these podcasts, what do you do with the information? Do you take notes like you're studying in a class? Imagine you're in college. If you're listening to TED Talk, and if you're listening to a class, you're going to have to take notes. That's a good way to do. First of all, I try to listen and understand. And if I don't, I just put subtitles and search that words that I don't know. Awesome. The technique shadowing. Yes. Shadowing is very important. What is shadowing? It's when you hear someone speak and you repeat. And you look crazy, but it works, and it's really, really important to do that repetition. Repetition is boring, right? It's boring to repeat. You feel, but you're learning, and that's what matters. You're learning, you're developing. The audio and subtitles in English. Hear good songs and letters with letters in English, with lyrics in English. I just let it go away because I'm cleaning my house. Yeah, that's what we do most of the time, and it's okay. I think if you're cleaning your house, then you're focusing on cleaning your house, and the English is just like, it's there, right? And that's important. But how much did you learn in that moment? a little bit. I'm sure you learned a little bit, and just the contact is important. But it's also important to take a moment where you're watching something in English and you're also focused. You're focused, right? When I was learning Spanish, one of my difficulties was when other people spoke Spanish and I wasn't focused 100%, I couldn't understand. Like when I'm speaking and somebody says something in English and I'm not paying attention, then I can understand just because it's so easy. English, or Portuguese. But with Spanish, when other people said something, just like, when you're talking to somebody and somebody else is also talking and you can still understand what they're saying. With Spanish, I couldn't understand what they were saying. So what I would say is, like, a lot of times when you reach to a really good level of fluency, you can understand it. But if you're not there yet, it's really difficult. That's why sometimes I used to read the scripts as well. Awesome. Yeah, so like you're listening and you're reading the script at the same time. That's a really good way to do it. But it's also good to just like, if you're just going to take it, take another step, like there's so many different things you can do. But you take English, you take a TED Talk and you're listening to it. And you take notes. You take it like a college class. You take notes, and then you give a presentation about the TED Talk to nobody, to your soccer shirts, I don't know, to your wardrobe. You look at your bed and you pretend there's an audience there, and you give a presentation about the TED Talk or a presentation about the movie. Now you practice listening and you practice speaking. Right? And you practice writing too and taking notes, listening and taking notes. Like that's so important. I still can't understand two people talking at the same time. Yeah, and that's how it is. For you to come to a level where you can understand it's just a lot of noise, So for you to get to that point, you have to do these things, but you're not there yet, right? You're not there yet, so you have to work at it. You have to work hard and develop your language skills to get to that point. And we have opportunities every day. You don't have to do these things every day, because that's where a lot of times we're just lazy, right? I don't want to work at it. I just want it to be natural. I just want to learn naturally, and sometimes that's okay. But we can't do that every time and expect to grow. It's okay to listen to music with your mind focused on other things, right? That's okay. But if you only listen to music with your mind focused on other things, how much will you learn, right? But if you start to really focus, I would say 15 minutes focusing on English is better than 2 hours not focused. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, really focused is better than 2 hours not focused. So it's very important for you to take every day moments of your time and really focus on the English that you're listening to or that you're speaking, right? Really focus. When you're speaking by yourself, we've already talked about a good idea is to record it, right? Make an audio so you can listen to it. When you make the audio, how can you improve what you're doing, right? What are you going to do with that audio? You're going to listen to the audio, and you're going to try to find any mistakes. You're going to try to find any mistakes in what you said. Try to correct it. Maybe you don't find any mistakes. That's okay. But try. Maybe you get, you stopped in the middle. Now you're going to record it again and see if it's better. And so you're trying to, every time you do that, you try to improve. You try to make it better. So that's an intentional decision to get better. We can't be unintentional about it and expect to get better, right? And I feel like the reason why most people never reach fluency is because they're not intentional about reaching fluency. They only, it would be a good idea. I hope to reach fluency one day, but maybe not. I don't know if I can do it. So if you don't be intentional about it, you might not ever reach fluency, right? Or it could take you many, many, many years. I don't think it's very impressive to reach fluency. I just think it takes a lot of effort. But I think we're all very capable of reaching fluency. But here's another question. What is fluency, right? What is fluency? Fluency is being able to understand natives in conversations, 1, 2, 3, 4 people talking, right? Being able to understand group conversations, movies without much challenge, without much difficulty. It's being able to listen to music and understand what they're saying without having the lyrics. It is being able to read out loud. That is something you must practice. You have to practice reading out loud. Imagine you take us. I did a reel about this the other day, and nobody did it. But a lot of times, if you're reading and you don't really sound like a native, you don't flow with your reading, it means you still have to work on that. So when you take a book, when you look at Instagram, always try to read out loud. Practice that every day. Every time you see something on Instagram, read out loud. It's a small opportunity. Read out loud. Because it's very difficult sometimes for second language learners to read and speak and flow really well. So the more you practice that, the better. I'm really proud of myself today because I watched Shadow and Bones all in English. Awesome. Good job, man. You should be proud. We should always be proud of our growth, right? Every time we do something and we're able to achieve that, be proud of yourself. Be happy because it takes a lot of work to get there, right? Shadow and Bones. I'm gonna take a look at it. I love watching TV shows and movies. So if you say it's a good show, I'm gonna look it up. I don't know it. So yeah, all of these things really take it to the next level. What I would suggest is what I want to encourage you guys to do today. Make a list of all of the ways that you can practice English by yourself. Just make a list. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I can think. I can record myself. I can watch a movie and do a report on it. All these different ideas. Make a list. Make strategies with it, not just the general ideas, but really like strategic ways that you can practice. Take some of the ideas we talked about today, and then every day decide to do at least one of these things, 1 or 2. Every day you look at the list and you say, okay, today I'm going to do this. Today I'm going to do this. Today I'm going to do this. It's very important for you to make that list and really be like focused on doing those things every day. So that's my challenge for you guys. Make that list and you can send it to me. Send me a picture of your list. I will post it on my stories. I would love to see your results. So if you want to make a video of you doing it, if you want to send me an audio, that's fine. I might not listen to all the audios or anything, but if you make a stories, tag me, say, hey, look at what I did today. I want to see that result, you know. So I hope that you guys can leave today with the understanding, okay, I can do this. I have to do this. And really put it in practice. Watching series, reading, and I do English class. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, so Leticia, you just joined now. Go back and watch the whole live later when I post it. There's so much that is going to help you to be really strategic in when you're watching TV series, when you're reading, when you're doing English class. One thing that I want to tell you guys is like your journey learning English. You have teachers. How many? I'm going to ask a question. This is going to be a great question. How many teachers have you had up to this point? If you can understand me, right? Usually you've had a lot of teachers, right? So if you can remember, put in the comments how many teachers you've had over your whole journey speaking English. I bet it's been like at least 10, right? So we've had a lot. You start developing with one teacher and you learn a lot with him, but eventually you get another teacher and then another teacher and then another teacher. 5 teachers. Wow. 5 teachers. And what I want to say with this, 4 teachers. It can be private teachers or classes, like it could be, if you had an online course, that counts. Our process of learning English is only ours. It's only yours, right? And a teacher is a part of that process. One teacher for YouTube. Nice. Only one teacher. So you're self-taught, pretty much. You had one teacher on YouTube and you self-taught. Good job, man. Excellent. So what I'm trying to say is like our journey, when you're learning something, you have your journey. Everybody else is just inserted inside your journey. It's yours, right? It's your journey. And everybody else is only a piece. It's a small piece in that journey. So this live, it's a small piece in your journey to learn English. So you have to look at everything like, okay, everything depends on me, and I include other people in my process to help me learn. But I don't blame them when I don't learn. That's a big problem. Don't blame the courses. Don't blame the teacher. Don't blame the method. People blame the method. Oh, I had a bad method in this course or that course, and it said no. Don't blame the method. Don't blame the teacher. Just take the responsibility. When you take that responsibility and then you put it into practice, that's when you start to really grow. All right? So, wow, this has been a great time. We're almost at an hour here. Crazy. I just want to finish kind of with a light tone, just kind of, just take your questions. Any questions? Does anyone have a question they'd like to ask? Because I've been speaking a lot, but I haven't let you guys ask any questions. So if you have questions, what is something that you have, like, you feel like has stopped you besides yourself? Like what is something else that's been really hard for you learning English? I've heard people talk about listening to natives. How can you listen to natives and understand? How can you grow that, right? Recommend any book. I'll get on that in a second. How can you improve your listening when listening to natives? Like how can you really get that better? I would suggest listening to music, doing exercises like I did in my stories yesterday, trying to write down what you hear. Listen to audios in English or videos in English. Try to write down what you're hearing. When you do this, you're practicing your listening like in a really strong way. So I would that's one of my biggest suggestions. Like listen and write down. Listen and write down. And little by little, you'll see that you'll be able to understand natives a lot better. But there's more to it. I would say that one of the problems with understanding natives is separating the words, right? If you saw my video, can I get you a coffee? We bring words together. So the more you listen, the more you're going to be able to separate these words, and it's going to be easier for you to understand them. No, not just songs, but also any videos. Like when you're listening to a native talk, try to write down. I think songs is really fun though. It's funner with songs, but it's more difficult. It's definitely hard. I'm sorry, guys. It was really hard. Could you talk about the conversation group classes? How does it work? So, besides your course, is there an individual custodia from you? All right. So, guys, I would say I'm not trying to reveal everything, but we have a project that we're creating for advanced speakers to reach fluency, and it's coming. So that's one of our number one projects, and I want you guys to look forward to it. But it's coming. We have a project. We're gonna create a course, or we're creating a course to take advanced speakers all the way to fluency, to really understand native speakers, just talk like a native, real spoken English. So that's coming. And our conversation group classes, we're accepting a few students. But yeah, I'll talk to you more in private about that. So yeah, we want to help you guys to reach fluency, to understand spoken English, reductions, expressions, like really the way Americans talk, because we learn textbook English all the time, right? We learn textbook English, but really learning spoken English, how Americans sound, it takes a teacher. It does. Just for advanced students, can be intermediate advanced, like a higher level English, to where, see, a lot of people, they get to an intermediate, they get to advanced, and they just stop, right? They just stop. And so the exact level is very blurry, right? And so if you feel like you have, a lot of English, it's probably going to be a good course for you. Because I think that I find myself at intermediate. Yeah. Intermediate and advanced, it's not going to be grammar. That's the whole thing. We're not going to teach grammar in the course. It's only going to be really like how to talk like a native, how to listen and understand native English, how to understand jokes. That's something. So you don't recommend much books because we have to listen and interact. Oh, yeah, I totally recommend books. Like I said, it's extremely important to read. And I don't read a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a big reader, but the biggest focus of this live was listening and speaking. But reading is really important to improve your vocabulary. One of the most efficient ways to improve your vocabulary is to read books. That is the truth. To improve your vocabulary and your grammar is reading books. So I'm not really good at recommending books. I can recommend movies because I watch a lot of movies. Speaking of which, I'm probably gonna do a lot of more recommendations on my page. But if you guys have a book that you like, that you want to recommend, put in the comments here or in my post later on. So that's what we want to do, and that's what you can expect from my channel here. We want to help you guys to really go from textbook English to spoken English. Really being able to understand natives, being able to communicate like a native. And we want to help you guys to get to that level. And it takes a lot of work. And you have to start doing these things to get there. But we're going to help you guys on that path. All right. All right, guys. This was awesome. I've really enjoyed my time with you guys. If you have any other questions, write in the comments of the post. I'm going to post this. So I ask you guys, go on the post, say you loved it. If you like the video, if you like the live, say it there so that other people will see that and want to watch it. All right. So thank you guys so much. This has been really fun. We have about 15 to 20 people the whole time. So that was excellent. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll see you next time. Holy Bible, yeah. There's so many good books. The Invisible Man, the Bible. You can look at old books like... I don't know books. I'm sorry. Thank you, Amanda. All right, guys. Appreciate it. Write in the comments of the post that I'm going to make in a few seconds. And yeah, take care.